pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for joining us tonight on a wet night. We've called a special meeting for two basic purposes. One, for the board to consider two resignation letters from our office employees, and also to consider the appointment of a clerk. I want to say before we get started tonight that the last meeting the board was deadlocked, and that's very unusual for us. You're not going to hardly ever see that because Mark, Dwayne, and myself and Mike hardly ever disagree, but we're going to once in a while, and we did last meeting, and like Mark said, we're all individuals. We all think differently, and we have to vote according to our conscience. So we're human. We're going to disagree once in a while, and that's okay. But we'd like to get down to business tonight. I have a couple letters I'd like to read. We'll do a roll call first. I'll do that, and then we'll get right to our agenda. Baranowski. Here. Hagel. Here. Rushing. Here. Titus. Here. All right, we have no guest speakers, and again, I'd like the board to consider these letters of resignation and decide how to handle those. We hope that they will accept those. Riley Township Board. This letter serves to inform you that I am resigning from my position as Administrative Assistant and Building Department Secretary effective July 5th, 2021 at 5 p.m. I am glad for the business experience I have earned by serving the residents of Riley Township up until now, and know that it will serve me well. I would like to say good luck to whomever replaces me, and my hope is going forward that this administration will be proactive. Sincerely, Deborah Kruger. Is there a motion to accept that resignation?
I'll make that motion.
All right.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Deborah, best of luck to you in your future endeavors.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you for serving our township the years you have. All right, I have another letter here tonight. Riley Township Board of Trustees. This letter serves as notice of my resignation as office manager for Riley Township effective July 5th, 2021 at 5 p.m. I have enjoyed serving the residents of this township for the past 2.5 years. I'm grateful for the knowledge and experience that I have gained. These experiences were invaluable in enabling me to develop my professional skills and to advance to the level of responsibility I've enjoyed while employed here. I wish the township and its residents success and growth in the future. Regards, Rachel Lee. Is there a motion to accept that letter of resignation?
I'll make that motion.
All right.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, and we wish Rachel all the best in her future endeavors too. All right, the other order of business we have tonight is to consider the appointment of a clerk. Our choices are narrowing. We did have a couple responses from our ad that was published. One lady from the Memphis area, another from the Yale, and I looked at both those. I think the board has reviewed those as well. I didn't see anybody there with any local government experience, and that concerns me. I think it would be a mistake to appoint someone to the office of clerk that has had absolutely no experience at all. I'd like the board members' thoughts on that as well before we get to consider the applicants we have.
Well, 3 applicants we got. I think Dawn Bean just shines over the other 2.
Okay.
I think we'd like to have her.
Dwayne, any thoughts on
I don't know, I looked all 3 of them over, and I narrowed down. I looked probably over like 3 times. And the one that really caught my eye was, I guess, Mary Mosheri, if I'm saying it right.
Mm-hmm.
She's completing her accounting degree through St. Clair County. And there's always help. Obviously, they're going to need help through MTA, and MTA offers a lot of training to help them out. So.
Sure. Okay. Mark, any thoughts?
Like you had stated, we need some fresh faces, new perspectives on this position. And myself, I also like Mary's and Sherry's qualifications and background, and that's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay, we have two choices tonight. If we can appoint a clerk, someone to that position, or we can wait for another 30 days and let the county, at least 30 days, and let the county do a special election at the cost of, what was it, Commissioner?
Well,
5 to 10,000?
we do have quite a few people here that probably want to give some input.
Okay, sure.
Again, I'd like to start about 4 points. One, I've talked with Gina Boyer with her lead message to you to have a special election if it does go that far, if this board decides that they can't come to an agreement on appointing a clerk for the position up until 2022, which they have to run in the 2022 election. This is only up until that. It's a midterm election, so whoever gets appointed only lasts until 2022. It's not going to be the full 4-year term, so whoever gets that. The cost would be $5,000 to $8,000 to the township.
Okay.
And if you currently have two, you might have more that potentially could run in a special election. But you might end up with the same applicants that you currently have. And then what you'll end up doing, if the board can't decide, you might end up with a person anyways out of those two here. So that's, keep that in your thought. Hopefully you guys can come to an agreement. My next point is that when I was township supervisor, and I've been at this now for 17 years, and I never wanted to be an elected official, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed being a county commissioner. And once you get in those seats, like I brought up last meeting, that's not your seat. You got to represent who put you there. And I think I've done that very well for the 6 townships I represent and half the city of Memphis. I did vote no on the convention center. I'll pick up 2 things, and also on the I-69 corridor, because I had resolutions from all the townships that did not support the I-69 corridor. They also didn't support the convention center. Now, once those decisions were made, to make those county commissioners, I don't hold a grudge if that's the right term. I'm full on board to make the convention center a success now, because we have the expense. It was roughly, a little over $9 million that we have a 30-year commitment to pay off. And there's a lot of financial, that's for different times if you guys want questions, but just say, you need to represent the residents. Last month, or last week, when you guys had your discussion, and I thought about this afterwards, or it didn't say anything at the meeting, that Rachel and Deborah, evidently they do a fine job in the office, but they both ran for office in November, and it was not a close election. The residents already told you they did not want them representing the township as a trustee back in November. And like I said, it wasn't a close election. Mike won very soundly for the treasurer, and Al won very soundly for supervisor for the 2 that ran against him. Of course, Debbie Wren didn't run at all, or I didn't have anybody run against her. So she filled the position as clerk, and she was the acting clerk. When I understand, I don't know Debbie that well, but evidently she's a very smart lady and did a good job as clerk. I do take exception for 6 months that she would not provide an agenda for it. And I'm not going to speak for Don, I'm going to get to Don in a minute, but I just don't think that was the right thing to do. If you're a trustee, you need to provide, as historically has been done, an agenda so you can provide the residents of Riley Township what your business meeting is going to be about.
It's not the trustee's responsibility.
No, I didn't say it was.
Oh, okay.
But historically, the clerk is taking care of it. That's what I said. Now, statutorily, it doesn't have to be done. But legally, I believe an agenda has to be made for the residents, whoever does it. If you designate office help to do it, get an agenda made. Because then if you start off a meeting and you don't post any of that information to the township, residents come here, they don't know what you're going to talk about. And I know Al started one of the meetings, well, what are we going to talk about tonight? That's the short version.
Yeah.
There was other things. You had some things that kind of went with the format, but you didn't have a formal agenda. I could not imagine doing a county commissioner's job, not having an agenda to where the residents can come before us. And of course, when we have our full board meeting, we got 600 pages. So we go through an awful lot. We have 4 committees, which I chair the Ways and Means, and there's a lot of work to be done. But the residents get to see that agenda countywide. the residents of Riley should be able to see that agenda, so they can see that and potentially have questions for you and assist you. I know when I took the job as supervisor, and back then, we had hardly anybody come to meetings. And Al remembers, Dwayne, you were serving on the planning commission, and we got a lot of people here. We got quality people come to the meetings because they knew they'd be heard. As much as I think I know stuff, when I'm sitting in that seat, somebody raises their hand, I stop the meeting because I don't want to know that your expertise or something that I could have known if I didn't allow you to speak. So at the township level, you can do that. It's very tough at the county level because we don't respond back to the residents. The township, you have control of the meeting, and I believe you got a lot of people here with a lot of life experience that can assist you in doing your job. So when I was supervisor, that happened. And what we happened, for lack of a better term, we had some troublemakers come to the meeting that just wanted to be troublemakers, for lack of a better. Then we started getting quality people that said, hey, we get to be heard. Florence was one, and she had a lot of good input. You know, she had the culvert over there. But if it wasn't for her efforts, we wouldn't have gotten me and Shane Hernandez, that culvert over on Riverdale, I think it's covered, isn't it? That got put in. Pop Road, I'm sorry. And so I think you really need to consider the residents. You also need to consider the expense for this election and make the best decision. I don't want this to go to special election, because you might end up with the same result anyways.
That's a concern.
There's a lot of things that need to be done. I guess the last thing I want to say is about Don, and I've been at this for 17 years. And Dwayne, you've seen this at our planning commission meeting. I don't know of anybody that's been more prepared for meetings. You look at what she does, and we've never had a recording secretary like her for the planning commission. We had, once Al asked me to serve on the planning commission, I forget who was the recording secretary, but they were very poor notes. I thought I upgraded it pretty good, had the agenda, and brought it to every meeting. Then, of course, Dawn took the position, and there's no comparison. She's as good as anybody that I've worked with in government. In addition, in the office, you don't need any compensation. You need that office to work as a team.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, Dawn and Mike work very good together. You need that as trustees. All five of you need to work together. That wasn't happening. You know that with Debbie, there was some headbutting going on. Without getting into specifics, you need all five of you guys working to the same goal, whoever you appoint. Of course, I would definitely like to see Dawn there. I would hate to lose her on the planning commission, but I think she'd still assist there. If we have any questions, she'd assist with that as the clerk. I just believe that. I also think that she'd make sure there's an agenda, talking with the supervisor. And with you guys, if you ever had anything you wanted on the agenda. And I'm speaking as a resident now, I don't think you're going to do better than Debbie. I mean, I've done. I've been at this 17 years. Dwayne's been at it even longer than I have, serving on the planning commission. I don't know, it's got to be 25 years plus.
26.
Okay. And you've got a lot of expertise, and you've seen a lot of recording secretaries on the planning commission. I don't know if anybody compares to the job that Don does.
Yeah, I used to do it, but I'm not as good as Dawn.
Right. But you look at what her dedication, serving the township already, that's got to be worth some consideration, that you have somebody that cares for this township and wants this position. And she has a history of showing of how much she cares about this township. She is very, very prepared. So I could continue on, but that about covers it. I don't know the other, I don't even know her name.
We're going to take,
I'm sorry.
we're going to take time tonight, we're going to take the time tonight to hear from everybody that wants to speak. We're here in these seats to carry out the will of these residents in this township. And we can't do that unless we know what they want us to do. So we're going to take the time, whatever time it takes. If you have something to say, we're going to take the time to hear it. So who would like to be next? Really? Yes, Deborah.
Well, since the former clerk, Debbie Wright, is not here to defend herself,
Yes.
based on what Mr. Rushing said about not having an agenda, I was in the office when she let the supervisor know that she was not going to be providing an agenda. This was back in October, in the thick of elections. So he was made aware of it.
Yeah.
That's why
That's fine.
she stopped.
But
Well,
still,
you're
it's
making
short.
the point that it's the history of it.
Correct.
Can I read something quick?
She's not
No?
here to tell you this, so
And that's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah, we know it.
Deborah, can I read something quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Rick.
Okay, this is from Michael Sullivan, Director Member Information Services from Michigan Township Association. I emailed him 6-7 months ago. He said, Dwayne, nobody has a specific job of creating the agenda because it's not required by statute. That being said, if the board doesn't have that assigned to anyone specifically, we would say that job would fall back on the supervisor to create as it's his or her meeting to run, period. Thanks, Michael Sullivan.
Yeah, I understand what
I'm
Deborah's
just
saying, but,
clarifying what
Right.
he's saying in this meeting.
yeah, that's
She's not
fine.
in the defender's
That's
office.
fine. But what Dave said is true about the difficulty in running a meeting, chairing the meeting without an agenda. It's very difficult. And so, yes, Debbie told me, and I understood at the time, but we do, whoever we appoint to this position, we need to make sure that they're able to create an agenda, or I will appoint somebody to designate someone to do that, because it's not fair to the residents, even in a meeting, and it's not fair to us. It's just too difficult to navigate a meeting. But tonight we want to focus on those that we've mentioned already as candidates, if I can use that term. Dawn, of course, and this other lady that Mark and Dwayne mentioned. I don't even know if we could appoint her tonight to that position if we chose to, where we just haven't really even interviewed her or anything as far as her resume goes. But again, I think it wouldn't be in the best interest of the residents to appoint someone that has no government experience. The clerk's job is a difficult job. It takes a lot of skill and knowledge, and I just, I don't think it's in the best interest of residents to appoint somebody that knows nothing about it. Let me tell a little story, and then we'll get back to the residents here. In 2008, I ran for another term as trustee. I was defeated in that election by 15 votes. In 2010, when then Supervisor Rushing resigned and went to county, I put my name in with another township resident for consideration of the appointment of supervisor. The board passed over me and would not appoint me, and it made no sense to me at the time, but now as I sit in this seat here, it makes sense. And it was because I had run 2 years prior and the residents said no. And that was why I would not vote to appoint Rachel in our last meeting. It had nothing to do with Rachel's ability. She's very good at what she does. I was not going to vote to appoint somebody to a position where the residents just 8 months ago or whatever it was said no. So there's a lot of things to consider tonight, but the bottom line is this. We have to do as a board what's most important for these residents and what's in the best interest of the resident. I think we have to lay aside our personal preference. And if we think it's in the best interest to deadlock again like we did the last meeting and let this go to county, then that's what's going to happen. But I don't think that's in the best interest. Like Dave already mentioned, I think county could do an election and we could end up in the same place with somebody with no experience at all and having to learn that job entirely. Now, I understand that Dawn is not a clerk, but Dawn's been around our office long enough to know a little bit about what goes on there and what needs to go on. So I just wanted to remind the board tonight that I've been through this before myself and understand a little bit about the choices here and the priorities. So let's hear from someone else tonight. Who else would?
I wasn't finished.
Okay, Joanne, and then I'll go back to
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
just feel you should interview them
yeah.
and see what basic things they have to learn. If you
Sure.
haven't interviewed them yet, I don't think that's very,
No, we haven't had time to interview. We just put out an ad and we have resumes. So, Deborah, do you have another comment?
No, I mean, I've been in the office, obviously, and I've seen how thorough Dawn Beam is with her packets and things that she does. I wouldn't say that I have a personality conflict with her. I have another issue that had come up in the office between her, but she also came into the office apparently with board permission, she said, to confront me, because after, the last round of voting, where we were deadlocked, I withdrew, and she come in the office on a personal issue. She said she had board permission to. And she asked me to be her deputy, and that I could take care of elections for her. So, that's one of the big points of this position, is election.
Yes, it
And I
is.
would like to know, as a board, who said she could come and confront me, you know, at where I work.
Yeah, I gave her
Okay.
permission to discuss that with you.
I didn't
Yeah,
understand
and-
what was appropriate.
Yeah, she's just trying to, look ahead and do what's best for the township, so,
I understand that, but
Yeah,
that's.
I understood.
You know, I'm working,
yeah.
and that was a personal issue.
Okay, we're getting off track here a little bit tonight.
Well, we're not, I'm talking
Well, I
about
think
her
we are.
abilities, and,
I think we are, so,
I
wanna
have
hear-
issues with some of her integrity.
Yeah, all right,
When she's in the office and going through planning commission files for the mining operation to, you know, get a new well,
Yeah.
that I have an issue with, and I haven't spoke out loud about that until now.
All right.
I get phone calls in the office from somebody at the state level saying that the planning commission secretary called them. So, you know, there were issues at that pit, and she had access to the plans and files for PC for that mining operation, and she just so happened to get a new well. To me, that's ethics and integrity.
all right, we're gonna move on tonight. We're getting off track here.
Well, we're not.
We are. I said we are getting off track, and we're getting off track, we're gonna get back on track.
Okay.
Jerry, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I was just gonna say, in defense of Don here, Don and a whole bunch of other people got new wells over that money.
Yeah, there was plenty of them,
Yeah, it wasn't just.
and it was justified because of the
And
the
she was
issues.
doing research for us.
To the file.
All right, let's go around the room tonight and give everybody an opportunity to speak that wants to speak. Are there any other thoughts or comments about those that we are considering tonight for appointment of clerk?
I'd like to hear from Mary Masheri.
Are any of the balloons
Mary,
here?
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
That's okay.
We haven't met.
Actually, we have met, because I know your daughter very well,
Oh, okay,
and your granddaughter.
all right.
Your grandchildren.
Yeah,
My name is Mary. I have lived in the township for 30 years. I've been very involved with the community. My husband was the fire chief of Emmett for 6 or 7 years. He's still in the fire department. I volunteered multiple things in the community between Memphis and Emmett. It's all listed on my resume, from being coaches to catechism teachers and everything else, if you look at that. And I know you, without even talking to me, you automatically said, well, I have no city, or no experience.
yeah, I didn't see it on your resume, I'm sorry. if I
Okay, that's
overlooked it.
okay. I took time off to raise my daughter. What was convenient for me was to work at Memphis Community Schools. I've been there before I've done that. I have done payroll. I have accounts, payables, receivables. I've hired, I've fired, I've delegated, I've done human resource. It's all on my resume. And I do know that next year we have 2 elections, one in August, one in November, which is also for the clerk's position. I also know that I will get certified immediately to run in elections. I have no problem with that. I do know that other than what's listed on the township duties of the clerk, that there are contracts between the fire departments. There's contracts with the garbage. There's contracts with snow. There's contracts with grass. There's also, I'm familiar with 1099s and filing all the state and federal requirements. I'm familiar with 401ks. Also, I know that the general ledger is also, the state just changed the mandate. So all the numbers for the general ledger, we're going to have to go over to the state, transition to the state. So, I get that, but you never even, you sat here and automatically kind of put me down, where I've done the research for this job. I am, just because I have not worked in an official government office, I don't think does not make me unqualified. I know the last meeting, just because I'm not here, I do listen to them when you guys record them. And, if I was hired, I know that payroll has to get up before the end of the month and all your other expenditures. So I just want to let you guys know that I am a very detailed. I do have a background You know, so just because I haven't worked in a government office doesn't mean I have not performed those duties. That's all I have to say.
Well, if I would have known you were here in the audience tonight, I would have asked you earlier to speak for yourself. Sorry,
I did pipe up earlier in Saturday.
all right, I didn't hear you, so I apologize for
No
that.
problem.
All right, and anyone else like to speak or share their thoughts here tonight in regards to what the board has to decide?
Is the other one here, that
Tracy?
Tracy?
Yeah, I guess the way to find out is that.
Al, I just wanted to mention, you said you want somebody with experience. Well, each one of us that are sitting on here started out with no experience.
Yeah.
Okay? So, in my opinion, we need a fresh face, a new start. And you even had mentioned that at the last meeting,
Sure.
which would indicate that a person like yourself needs to be given a chance.
Yeah, I understand the clerk's job somewhat because I had thought some years ago about running for the position, and when I looked at it closely, I didn't want any part of it. It's a difficult job. It's a tough job, and I would think it would be even tougher to step into it with a limited amount of experience. So whoever we appoint to that position is going to have their hands full.
Especially the fact for about a year and a half to the next election.
Yeah.
Well, one other thing too,
Yes.
whoever steps in doesn't have anybody that's experienced helping them out.
The whole office.
Because the whole office,
Right.
just,
We do have offers from other clerks. I spoke to the clerk at Berlin Township today, and she said that you're more than welcome to, for our, whoever we appoint, to call her anytime and talk to, ask questions of her or her deputy. We've also had the same offer from Grant Township, and their clerk. So we will have some resources for whoever we appoint to that job, at least somebody to be able to call and ask questions. So that'll be a big plus. I'm sure, Tom, was that your hand?
Yeah, I'd like to hear from Dawn too, please.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Plenty of-
I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity
Sure.
before I raise my hand, so, thank you. Yeah, I spoke on behalf last time at the meeting of my experiences. We have a lot in common, a lot of background in the same areas and such, stayed home with my kids. So I talked a lot last meeting about my professional experience. Before I had kids, most of it was a home health agency, very large home health agency. I started at the bottom, worked my way up, worked there for 9 years, and started administrative assistant, worked in the accounting department, worked in payroll, accounts payable, and I was promoted to the team leader. And not long after I was promoted to the team leaders, when McLaren came in and gobbled them up and the CEOs sold their shares. And then I transferred over to another company, a bank in Port Huron, as their payroll coordinator, and then I decided to stay home. So my professional experience was very extensive in it. It's a large corporation, big umbrellas, large general ledger, big integrated software program. We were constantly integrating and upgrading, streamlining software systems between departments and into the GL with the payroll system as well too. We paid over 500 employees. They served the entire southeastern Michigan. They had 5, 6, 7 satellite offices that were all under umbrellas. We had 5 entities under the umbrella of the home health agency that we had accounts with. We had to reconcile every account. The accounts payable system, we processed about 650 invoices a month under that corporation there. So I have quite a bit of extensive background. The township would be a much smaller scale, but they were same thing, nonprofit basis. You have a GL, large GL, which was very similar to the state of Michigan general ledger that they have. We did convert over into a different GL system while I was employed with them. It was a more complex because home health care is much more complex. So when I decided to stay home, I was still very involved and active in nonprofits. To keep active with my bookkeeping experience, I assisted 3 different nonprofit agencies with setting up their accounting systems and their general ledgers and chart of accounts. 2 of those, I actually processed the nonprofit application, did all the paperwork for that, and the financial statements are submitted to the state of Michigan, and both of those were accepted within 2 months with the IRS, and they both got their 501c3, so that way they can be certified nonprofit. I'm also currently involved with our robotics club. I've been the accounting mentor with them, working with the kids, helping them understand the financials involved, especially with the robotics club. They're not small. They bring in lots of money, so it's very important, the internal controls of handling those in those clubs, working closely with the school district, looking at grants, trying to bring in more money for the club itself. On a personal note too, I was home with my kids, as I said before. Family was important for me. I was very involved. I had a kid with extra needs. So going through special education system, you really have to learn and understand the regulations and the processes in order to be successful in advocating for your child. What I learned being an advocate for my child and other children with special education is that you have to come to the table. Everybody has input, whether you agree with it or not. Everybody's opinion is valuable. Your main focus is the benefit of that child. Sitting here in a township meeting is really no different than that. Everybody has to come prepared and be present at the table and bring their ideas, good or bad, indifferent or alike, and come to a consensus all the way around for the benefit, in my case with the special education, the benefit for the child. Everybody here has to come together for the benefit of the community. That is what I have really learned, and that is more on a personal note what I would bring to this position and bring to the community.
Okay. All right, thank you, Dawn. Anybody else tonight?
That's Tracy Hillsider, is she?
I would like to say, just knowing Dawn and what she has done with her advocacy for special needs and the way that she's conducted herself on the planning commission, she is very unbiased. She does look at all sides, and I believe that she would put the township above any thoughts that she had privately of her own. I also believe that she would be a good candidate to be for this 1-year interim until there are elections. And then I believe that Mary and your other candidates with your resumes, they would be able to put their hat in the ring, and it would be a fair election.
Sure. All right, thank you, Michelle. I see some former elected officials in the room tonight. Nancy, I don't want to put you on the spot. Any thoughts tonight? I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I did.
Well, whoever you bring to the, decide to there's a lot of expertise that you can enlist out there. So, and there's a lot of, like you said, there are a lot of people willing to help. I'm one sitting right here too.
Sure.
So,
yeah, we appreciate anybody's help. Again, it's going to be tough, as qualified as Mary is, it's still going to be tough, in my opinion, to bring somebody in that's never been in our office before in the sense of working and really doesn't know our systems. I know a talented lady like her would pick up on it quickly. I just, I'm trying to draw as much of the opinion out of the residents tonight as possible. So when we make this decision, we can't say, well, we really weren't sure what the residents wanted. Well, that's why I'm asking for your input tonight. So is there anybody else? We have other township employees here. Anybody else want to add their 2 cents this evening before we get this to a vote? Okay.
I just have a question.
Sure.
So, you really have to appoint somebody today because of paying bills and going forward with the day-to-day activities and responsibilities?
Right, that's one of the most important criteria tonight, is that without a clerk, nothing can be paid. So the bills are not going to get paid by the end of the month, neither are any of the salaries and wages.
I just want to say one thing too. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I did not bring any of my papers with me. But I just want to let you guys know also, coming up, because I did my research, you guys have an audit coming up.
We do.
And I think it was July 21st.
That'll probably be postponed, but yes.
So I just want to let everybody know, okay. Just want to let you guys know that I've done a lot of research doing the township and everything.
Sure. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to postpone that. I don't know how they're gonna do an audit with, the office staff on it. I'm sure they'll figure out a way. These people are good.
We only have so much time to get that out now.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, I guess, yes,
I'm not official, I'm just a resident.
that's.
But I thought Michelle Brown made some really good points
Sure.
about Dawn's capabilities, or excuse me, yes, Dawn's capabilities, because I don't really know Dawn,
Yeah.
but I've heard a lot of good things about it. And it seems like going the route of picking a person that can hit the ground running, that knows your systems and knows your office somewhat,
Sure.
could be helpful on that short term until an election can be held. And I do see a lot of fairness in kind of bridging the gap short term and then allowing all the good candidates to run for the full term.
Sure.
And it just seems like it would save a lot of money for the township, and we don't have that much money.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. And I remind the board tonight that we have to do what's in the best interest of the residents now. Because the longer we wait, the more difficult this situation is going to become. Bills are not going to be paid. Again, people are not going to be paid. So we really need to get somebody in that office as clerk to get working. So is there anyone else that we've overlooked tonight? I hope not. If not, we will put this to the board to see where they want to go with it. Hopefully we can make a decision this evening. Any comments from the board tonight?
Have we looked at Tracy Hill's resume?
Have we looked at it?
Yeah.
I did.
She was another candidate?
Yeah.
But the only one, I think she couldn't start till July 12th. That's when she's available.
I did look at that just
Okay.
briefly.
Just so you guys all know.
Did anybody call her that there was a special meeting this evening? For her to attend?
I didn't even get the resume till tonight when I came to the meeting, so I'm not sure. I wouldn't think that anybody's called her. Yep.
Does she live in Riley Township?
Yeah.
Board,
No, I live on Griffin.
Boardman Road. I don't know which side of Boardman, so I wouldn't know if she's in Riley Township or not.
But that's a requirement for the clerk.
It is, thank you, Donna.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, it just gives me an address on Boardman Road, so I don't know if she's in the township or not. I would.
Is it an odd or even number?
Odd number.
Riley Township.
Okay, thank you. Only a fireman would know that. All right, guys, we gotta make a decision here tonight, so, if there's anything else you guys wanna share with the residents tonight, please feel free to say so. If not, we're looking for some kind of a, motion tonight, so.
I kind of agree, it's really important we get somebody appointed, because as of the 30th, all the tax bills are going out. And if we don't have a clerk, our doors are shut. Taxes are how we make our revenues, and it's gonna be a huge undertaking if we come back after a month, and we've got $500,000 in checks sitting up the door.
You wanna add anything to that, Dawn, as the deputy?
He's absolutely correct. I'd like to hear from the trustees, please.
Yes.
Oh, like I had stated, I would like to see a fresh face in here. And it could kind of start over from scratch, because we all did start from scratch here on the board, correct? We all did at one time.
For everybody resigned.
Yeah.
There were experienced.
Maybe now is the time for somebody fresh.
You want a fresh face, how come you nominated somebody that worked for the township already?
Well,
I'm
because
just asking.
because none of these people have actually applied for it.
Okay, but,
Okay.
so if they
That-
applied, you
that
would
is-
have nominated her, is what you're saying.
Not necessarily. we didn't put this out to the public
Yeah.
until after the last meeting. That's why. And so that's the road. So.
Okay, Wayne?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I mean,
Were you finished? Mark?
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I read all the resumes, very thorough. Dawn's, I worked with her, she's excellent at her job. I looked at Marion's resume, that Tracy Hill's. And like I said, I have no problem with Dawn whatsoever, but I think, I really think that Marion Mosherry's is a plus in my opinion. I mean, I don't know what the other board members think. And like I said, if whoever gets in tonight, there's lots of help out there for elections. MT's there, the county's there to help.
We're gonna need it.
You know. Oh yeah, we're gonna need it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough job, and it's tougher yet to step into something that's in limbo. Mike?
If I can add on to that last statement too, except we can't get somebody elected or put in a position tonight, we've got a lot of bills that are gonna get in late fees. I mean, each credit card, I believe, is $39 late fee, and those are due on the 12th.
Yeah, it's gonna get complicated before long, so,
I know I've had a couple conversations with Dawn. We get along awesome. She already has a login and everything as far as with our system. She kind of knows PSNA. She will have lots of other input from the other clerks if we need it, but I believe she's our best bet.
okay. Yes, Nancy?
Can I ask the question of Dawn?
Sure.
Who would be your deputy?
I haven't thought about that yet.
Do you have somebody, picked for your deputy?
Not at this moment, but I have a few persons in mind. But I do understand that it is the choice of the clerks to choose their deputy. I don't know enough yet about all the aspects of the deputy, other than, they pretty much take over when the clerk is not available. So, except for have a vote at the table, that I do know. So I have a couple of people in mind. I haven't really specifically spoken to them about, other than Debbie Krieger, who I asked the question to, which she declined. So she was my first thought, knowing that she was in the office, had a great deal of election experience. In doing my research, there was a clerk in the training module who was in the position where she said, when I was first elected, I had a very strong financial background. And so she had reached out to the county, and the county referred her a person who was really strong in elections. So that was my thought, was, okay, finding someone who was strong in that area and understood the election process, as I would be learning that.
Right.
And that was my question that I had.
And I guess the point is that you've got to have a deputy.
Yes, you do.
Right, absolutely.
Yep, you do.
Yeah,
It's a
elections
requirement.
is the toughest part of the job, according to other clerks.
Right. So I would be seeking out someone who would be strong in that area, and, but all I can do is seek out those individuals. I would be reaching out to other municipalities for that assistance,
Sure.
and anyone that they might recommend that they know of who would be strong in that area.
The deputy is not required to live in Riley Township.
No,
Correct.
that's
That is
correct.
correct. Yep, I did know that.
Yes, Jerry?
I think you guys are in a totally different situation than you were in the meeting, the last meeting, special meeting you had, because although you didn't have a clerk, the office was functioning because you had employees in the office. Now you no longer have any employees.
Well, it's
in the
July
office,
5th, so.
Yeah, right, after July
Yeah,
5th, so
correct.
you might as well just not do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, you're correct, Jerry. It's a different situation.
I just want to make a reiteration too, just so for those who don't really know, as I am a member of the planning commission, when I first started as a member of the planning commission and worked with Debbie Ryan, we had discussed about the possibility of me working on the elections, but since I was an actual planning commission member, it was a conflict of interest, so it was not allowed for me to be involved with the with the election, so that's why I don't have any background experience with that. So if anybody didn't realize that, that's why I don't have that experience.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Yes, Mary, and then I'll get over to you.
I was just going to say that, as far as deputy clerks go, I did talk to Rachel,
Yeah,
and she is willing to be the deputy clerk.
okay.
So there would be more experience
Sure.
with that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else here?
I thought she resigned.
She did resign, and she also resigned as deputy. That doesn't mean she couldn't come back as one,
Right,
sure.
it's the clerk's choosing who they choose for the deputy.
So once the clerk is gone, the deputy's gone, so.
We do have a part-time person who has been in the office, that filled in for me when I was out caring for my husband.
Okay.
So who's very, acclimated with the workings that happen at the township level.
All right, thank you, Deborah. Dawn, did you have another one?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I started a new position back in March and had an election in August and November, the two biggest elections ever in history. And it is not something you can't learn. And I had no election experience prior to that since I
We got through it.
was the treasurer, and I stayed away from that because sometimes I was on the ballot. So I didn't, and I got through it just fine.
All right?
So there is people out there that will train you, help you, work with you,
Yeah.
or anybody that's going to get the position, just so you know that.
Okay. All right, thank you, Don. Anybody else tonight? Dave?
I guess now I have reservations that you're going to potentially consider somebody that has put the township in a very tough spot by having resignation. And the residents have already said they don't want that person in the position of court. I'm not talking to them. Talk to them and just know my thoughts.
Yeah.
And Rachel might be very qualified, but the township's in a tough position, and I think you guys need to make a decision sooner rather than later.
Right.
And I believe I talked with you and Mike also, by the statute, you can't change it to where one signature is required on the checks. Your board's going to have to make that decision.
I already clarified with that with the bank.
All right.
I just want to say that I talked to Rachel before she resigned,
Okay.
just so we're clear. It's not like she resigned and said, hey, Rachel. Okay, and I asked her when I went in office, when I found out about the position that was open, I came into the office. So gave her a and I talked to her then. So I just want to let you know.
We don't need to discuss, we need to be
Yeah.
talking.
I am talking to
Yeah, I
everyone.
understand.
I'm talking to
Yeah.
everybody that's in this room.
Yeah.
With Nancy, then she asked a question first, so now you're saying that Rachel would not be a deputy.
I'm not saying that.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
I have not talked to Rachel in the last 2 days since I turned in my resume.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for...
No, that's fine. All right, are we done tonight then? I haven't had my say yet, but I will. You know, I have a lot of respect for these guys here at this table, and all of them, but especially Dwayne and Mark. We've worked together a long time. I know they have the best interests of the township at heart, but I respectfully disagree with the new face, new blood right now. I think we need to make a decision that would be the simplest, easiest, quickest transition for us to get somebody in this place and get the business taken care of at hand. I agree with what's been said tonight as far as other people running for the position. That's great. That's what our system's all about. But right now, our backs are against the wall, in my opinion, and it's not the time to be voting for someone because they're a new face. I just disagree with that, Mark, and I do it respectfully. I think a lot of you. So that's my opinion, and I think we need to get down to business tonight and see where this goes. Hopefully we can make a decision and not leave here again tonight like we did at the last meeting. I'm getting tired of these special meetings, and I'm sure you guys are too. Of course, the trustees are getting paid for each one, so. I had to rub them a little bit. So
Not the way it was.
all right, let's get something on the table here and get moving on this. Do we have a motion tonight?
I'll make a motion to appoint Don.
All right. Okay. I'll support that motion. Let's do a roll call vote, shall we? Mark Baranowski.
No.
Wayne Hagel.
No.
Mike Gresham. Yes. Al Titus. Yes. All right. Let's move from there to another. Is there another motion tonight?
I'd like to make a motion to have Mary Mosheri
Okay.
be the interim clerk.
Okay. Is there support for that
I'll
motion?
second.
All right. Let's do a roll call vote again. Mark Baranowski.
Yes.
Wayne Hagel.
Yes.
Mike Gresham.
No?
Al Titus. No. All right, where do we want to go from here tonight?
I think there's another one, that Tracy Hill.
Yeah, but she's not here, I mean.
Yeah, not quite honestly, out of the three candidates, she's pretty qualified.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You still have a motion, even if it's 4-0, no's. You still have a motion for consideration because you did vote president.
Yeah.
So only somebody wants to make that motion.
All right, Nancy, did you have a question or input here?
I guess it's a personal question, so I don't know of the two ladies here. So I don't know if they want to entertain the question, or if they don't, then I'm not going to ask any questions.
So we won't know if they want to.
I don't. Your situation is,
Yeah.
you need help in the office.
We do.
Would one consider being a deputy for the other one and work in the office as well, because you need the help in the office?
And that would be for 1 year, and then you have your election.
Well, it's a little longer than a year.
Yeah. But both candidates are bringing good experience to the table,
Right.
and they both get more.
Well, I don't think the problem's out there, I think the problem's up here.
Well,
I think the residents could make a decision tonight, it's the board that's having a problem. But thank you, Nancy, for your thoughts and input. Yes, Ron.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for, I love to see the engagement and the interest in this, because really, when I first started on the planning commission, we never had people attend our meetings.
Right.
We would have public hearings, so we really had very minimal public engagement. So I really do applaud everybody coming and bringing their thoughts and questions to the township today. And yes, I would entertain your question. I know nothing about the other applicants, but I'm very impressed in hearing her speak and about her background and stuff like that. So that would be something, if I was appointed, that would be something that I would like to consider, just to learn more about her and her background and stuff to make sure that we would be a good fit together.
Yeah, it was a great suggestion, Nancy. Yeah, it's just that we got to get our act together up here. So anyway, where do you guys want to go from here? You want to make any more motions and vote on them, or do you just want to adjourn and go home? We're not going to get this out at the rate we're moving forward here or backward wherever we're going. Yeah, I really don't want to see the county, no offense to our commissioner tonight, I really don't want to see the county come in and do an election, because again, we get into it with somebody that's less qualified than these two ladies that are here tonight. So, at the expense again of the township residents of $5,000 to $8,000. So I just, I would like to know how we can get through this tonight and make a decision.
On the same breath, after Wednesday, our doors have to be shut, because we need to pay taxes and payroll.
Yeah, and as Jerry mentioned, we have a compounded problem here tonight, because it's not just filling the clerk's position, it's filling two other positions in the office. So things are going to come to a screeching halt here soon if this board can't make a decision on this matter. Yes.
I heard John address Nancy's question, but Mary, would you
I
like
never
to?
had a chance. It would be the same
Go
thing,
ahead,
like if
Mary.
I was appointed, then yeah, so.
But you wouldn't consider the second?
It's the same thing. Do you know what I mean? If I was, I would accept, do you know what I'm saying?
So these ladies are saying they would work together.
There you go.
Yeah, it's this board that has to work together.
That's right.
All right.
About coming together,
Yeah.
sharing of ideas,
Yeah.
putting it all out there.
All right, yeah. Well, I don't know. I've been at this, this is my 9th year as supervisor, and I've not been in this situation before. We have another former supervisor here tonight and the county commissioner. What do you think, Commissioner? Where do we go from here? Any wisdom for us tonight?
Well, what we did in the county, which I explained at the last meeting, and it had to do at one time with the county commissioner appointment, because there was only 6 of us there. And we had to reappoint a new commissioner to fill out the time up until the next election. And either that one or the road commissioner, for the St. Clair County Road Commission, one of them went 3 votes, one of them went 4 votes, and it kept being a deadlock, and finally they ended up 4-2, and somebody did get the position. So, we just kept motions and, at some point, enough was enough, and, all right, let's do what's in the best interest of the county, we'll fill the position, let the next election decide, if that wasn't the right person for the job. And then you get to be judged on your duties while you're filling that seat. And I think that's why the residents voted like they did for Riley last election. Why Al won like March and he did, and why Patrice and Mike won. Is because they have perception and they also have interaction with the township office. There was a reason the residents made the decision they did. And same thing here, if whoever you decide to appoint, and I really hope you guys do appoint somebody tonight, because you're damaging the residents, not yourselves.
You're correct.
And so that's my opinion on the resident. If you want to go to a special election, that's what you guys got to do. I just know that that's how we handled it in the county, and we weren't going home until it got resolved.
I don't know, I think, let me see. Whoever made the motion, can they rescind the motion and then do it again?
No, but you can make the same motion over and over and over, just make another motion.
That motion failed. Now you
So if they agree, whatever, who's gonna agree to be the deputy, who's gonna agree? Then we're gonna vote again, it's gonna be deadlocked again.
Either that or one of them wants to step down.
Ultimately, it's still the clerk's decision to appoint their deputy.
That's correct. Yeah, and, we have to make a decision here. We have to appoint someone as the clerk, and then again, as Dawn just said, the clerk can choose whomever for their deputy. But we gotta get past this, deadlock tonight. I don't know how long you guys want to stay with, but,
Does someone want to make a
I
motion?
got nothing else to do.
and I just, you can't make a motion that Mary would accept her or Dawn would accept Mary.
Right.
Because statutory, legally, you can't make a motion that they're.
It's solely their decision.
So I wouldn't put a motion in that. That's up between those two if they decide, whoever gets appointed, if you even decide on either one of them tonight.
Correct.
So if you do, they need to have a conversation with themselves. I believe Dawn said it, and I believe Mary would want to have a personal conversation.
Do you guys want to take a recess?
Seriously, I want to add another bit here tonight, though. It had been suggested after our deadlock at the last meeting that we could possibly talk to the bank and change, not, instead of requiring 2 signatures.
Already went to the bank and talked to them.
Okay, the bank's in agreement with that.
Yeah, they said as of about 3 years ago, they actually changed, and they said since then, you've only needed 1 signature.
MTA is not in agreement with that.
Correct.
MTA has told me that it takes 2 signatures on every check.
But they told after.
I talked to the attorney, Catherine, MTA, she said, absolutely, you got it too, no matter
So
what.
I did talk to the bank, they said if I take anybody in, at least with one
She
extra
got,
board
she was
member.
pretty upset with me when I asked her that stupid question.
Yeah, as far as the bank concerned, they want to work with us, and Mike's doing his homework. But as far as MTA's guidelines go, it takes the clerk's and the treasurer's signature on checks. So again, I'm just bringing that up because that means that nothing is going to get paid until we resolve this.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with the segregation of duties and internal control. We're dealing with public funds. It just secures the funds are being handled appropriately.
Right. So, yeah. So anyway,
I was gonna.
doesn't look like we're doing anything, but we're thinking. So we'll think a little bit more here. And again, if there's any more input, positive input in regards to what we're trying to do here, help us out.
Can I make a motion?
Yes.
Make a motion, take a 5-minute recess.
All right.
I'll second that.
I'll support that. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and see if we can handle this out. All right. Take a deep breath and relax. Need to cool off, step outside. Yeah, there you go. All right. That makes me feel warm. Right. Yeah, he's gonna do, president's start yelling for you. What you guys talking about?
All the gas. Chip, pork scat, or Gilbert, chip, yeah, every house has a little bit more.
Yeah, he's a neighborhood.
You're trying to back them up. San That's kind of what you were trying to
So anyway, we were trying to All right, we'd like to call our meeting back to order again. I'll make that motion as your support.
I'll second.
All right. All third. We're back in session again.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know Mark that well, but I think he is a very honest and he has a lot of integrity. I do know Dwayne for a long time now, and he is very honest. So hopefully there's no hard feelings between the board members. Of course, I know my son Mike, and I've known Ally even longer. And you've got a strong board up there with good integrity. So
A lot of experience.
they're going to make decisions, and they got to do what they believe is best interest of the township.
Yep.
And whatever the decision is, once it's made, we need to support the sport.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think I've had a better board to work with than these guys that are sitting around me. I appreciate their concern for the township and their wisdom. So I think what I'm going to ask to do is to see if there's any other comments yet again before we vote once more, and see if the board members have anything else they want to add to. I have a couple thoughts, but I'm going to let these guys speak first. Mike, let's start with you right around.
I just think we all need to come together. We need to find somebody because, like I said, as of the 5th, we no longer have front office personnel. We no longer have a clerk. And if after the special election comes up, we get all these new people appointed, there's not the learning curve we have right now. So it, not only would people coming in be blind, but there's going to be a mountain of paperwork for each of them.
Okay.
A lot of checks to write.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and I'm with Mike's. I don't want to cost any resident or taxpayer of Riley Township not one penny. I would love to have a clerk tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Mark, any thoughts?
I totally agree with the financial aspect of it. If it wasn't for the financial aspect of it, I would stick to my principles and how I feel about it.
All right, thank you, Mark. Well, I'll tell you where I'm at tonight. I'm not trying to be difficult, but I will not vote for someone who has not been in our office before because I think it's going to confound the transition. I know this lady is very talented, very qualified, as these other ladies are in these resumes as well. But Dawn has been in our office, she knows her way around our office, and if it has to go to county, then it has to go to county. And I hope that it doesn't, but I'm just not voting to bring us another person in again that has to totally learn our office before they can really settle into this position. I'm not going to do it. So if that's being stubborn.
So are they gonna agree to be one of the others deputy?
I don't think that would be appropriate.
No, they have to work that out between them. Nobody has any say about who a clerk or any elected official chooses as their deputy. That's totally up to the individual.
Let me say one thing.
Yes, Michelle.
Dawn was willing to have Deborah be her deputy clerk. So I think that goes a lot to show you where her integrity and intentions are.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Any other comments before we vote once more and adjourn? All right, I will make a motion again to appoint Dawn Bean.
I'll second it.
All right, let's do a roll call. I'll start with Mark Baranowski.
Yes.
Wayne Hagel.
Yes.
Mike Brush.
Yes.
Al Titus. Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Between me or the commissioner tonight, we will swear you in before you leave.
And before you swear me in, I have to resign as planning commission member.
Well, you can do that right now.
No, I can't be both.
You can do that right now.
I wish you could.
I hate to lose you there, but you can do that right now.
Well, I think the commissioner can be secretary.
Well, I have some thoughts on how we can still handle
What if you
that.
do like a mask like Batman did? You just have an alter ego?
So, but I can talk to you about that later.
Well, we need
As a
actually,
clerk, she could still be recording secretary if she chose to do
Yeah.
we
that.
actually need a
Thank you.
letter, we actually need
I
a
do
letter of
that.
resignation from Dawn's office.
Pardon me?
We actually need a letter of resignation.
I have paperwork with it tonight.
All right. Why don't you do that, we'll approve that.
Okay.
I was also going to say that I have to have some MTA training myself, and I was going to take the recording secretary.
Oh, look at that.
MTA training.
Just to let you know, you have till July 1st to complete that.
I know.
And,
I was going to do it this
We
week.
have online classes right now.
Yeah, I've already got my.
You can go home tonight and
We
watch it.
actually, at our last meeting, we approved a check to renew that.
Oh, really?
yeah.
I took one class a couple nights ago,
Except
and I'm
not
gonna take a
road
couple
check,
more.
but-
They're
Just
awesome.
so that you know, and Dawn even offered to help me along to
Yeah.
be as good as her.
Yeah, the training is excellent.
Yeah, it is.
Township pays for it, of course.
They are very good at
Take advantage of it.
And that goes for park and rec people also. That's free to park and rec people to watch. Bring
Yeah.
their back.
hours and
I
hours.
was looking at somebody specifically there. Yeah. All right, Dawn is preparing the letter of resignation as planning secretary. I will ask the board in just a moment to approve that.
I don't think we can, especially.
No, can't do it.
That's true, we can't, you guys are correct.
So,
We can't do it
The
this.
6th, July 6th, okay, but I can still submit it to you now for
Yes.
that meeting.
Yes,
we just can't add her onto a special meeting agenda.
yes.
We can only discuss what's on the
What's on
agenda.
the agenda,
I
correct.
don't have a full board to add anything onto the agenda in a special meeting,
Right.
and we don't have a full board, so
We'll
we'll take care of that.
But I do believe I can take the oath, so I think,
July
Yeah.
6th.
I think I can take the
Yes,
oath.
there's no reason why we can't take the oath. So, thank you for reminding me of that. I hate to violate the MTA guidelines.
I'm watching you.
It might take me to jail or something. Lock me up. Wouldn't be the first time.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What are you doing to, staff the office?
Staff the office, I'm talking to numerous people right now that are interested, some of which have contacted me,
Okay.
and then we will probably publish that as well, make a motion to do so at our July 6th meeting.
Okay.
But, yeah, I'm working on that, and have some ideas and some thoughts, so.
Okay.
But to anybody that may be interested, that anyone here hears about tonight, please direct them to myself or any one of these board members, and we'll certainly talk to them about that.
So do you have two positions that will be published?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes, Tom.
Don, if you have spare time in the meantime, you can probably do services.
I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
Mike, you probably don't want to give me up as a deputy yet.
Can't you bring her in the office for some reason, and then we could use her in other areas?
Yes, I can't quite decipher this number, you need.
All right, well, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight before I ask for a motion to adjourn. We appreciate you coming out on a nasty night like this and giving us your input. Thank you.
Am-
Yes.
Say something?
Sure.
I know this was really tough tonight. Mary, thank you for talking with all of us.
Yeah.
About your site.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you for
coming.
being here tonight, Mary.
And,
Appreciate it.
and thank you to all of you. I know it was really hard to make this decision.
It's a tough
And it
decision.
was hard to sit and watch it because I know it was tough on everybody.
It is.
But as
Lost a lot of sleep.
I know, I'm sure it did. I can see the strain on
We'll sleep
everybody.
better tonight.
But I really appreciate that you didn't, put it off.
Yeah.
That you dealt with it.
We've got
And you're
to.
saving us some dollars.
We've got to.
Well, I'd like to say one thing to you. Welcome to the Park and Rec.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:10.
Are you guys?
I'll second.
Take the resignation, or you go wait till your full board, or you gonna swear in tonight?
We're going to swear in after the
She
meeting.
needs sworn in, but we can't
But
take
we
her.
can't accept the resignation tonight. We'll do that in July 6th. All right, we have a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. None opposed. Meeting adjourned.
None opposed.
No, nobody's opposed.
Take a shortcut on that one.
Okay, I just.
We have